Do you remember the game Fat Princess? If you're anything like me and had no money or parents willing to buy you a $60 game when you were younger, you definitely remember loading up the demo menu in the PlayStation Store and downloading Fat Princess. But for those of you that don't, let me bring you back to a point in my childhood where I discovered possibly one of the greatest online indie games that ever existed. Fat Princess was an indie game developed by Titan Studios in 2009. Its core game mode was a twist on Capture the Flag where two teams would hold hostage each other's princesses and attempt to steal them back from each other. Alongside fighting each other to the death with cartoon but gory style combat, each team would have a secondary goal of feeding their captured princess cake to make them harder to steal back. Giving the game its now would-be controversial name, Fat Princess. This fundamental game mode would break into more complex concepts where up to 32 players, 16v16, would choose from a variety of classes and try to kill each other in goofy ways in order to achieve the goal of breaking into the enemy's castle and stealing back their princess. While this may not seem unique from the description alone, it's through stylized visuals, amazing sound effects, and interesting game mechanics that Fat Princess separated itself from others. So what was the gameplay actually like in Fat Princess? Well, basically you choose from two teams, red or blue, and could choose your class by picking up a hat from the hat station within your garrison. You could choose from villager, warrior, archer, mage, priest, ninja, even a giant. Each of these classes had genuine use cases to them and kind of all equally ended up being important to your team's chances at winning. For example, warriors were obviously your combat class that would sit on the front lines killing enemies and defending the castle from invaders. Priests could heal other players faster than they normally would be able to, and engineers and villagers could collect resources and upgrade the machines for your base. What was cool is that you weren't locked down to these classes from the start and finish of the game. You could always change your class on the fly by picking up a new hat. Because of all these things, strategy was much more essential than combat skill when it came to actually winning a game of Fat Princess. The game offered many different ways to actually win. Yes, if you were actually good at combat, you could just kill everyone and bring your princess back theoretically, but you could also build spring traps that would allow you to catapult over the enemy walls and you could sneak the princess back to yours. You could focus on upgrading your structures so that you would be way stronger than your enemies in battle. You could even work together to make a curse to turn your enemies into chickens. With all of these options available, every game of Fat Princess was different from the last, and gave the game immense replayability. On top of all that, the game had a campaign that people could play if they wanted a less competitive and more story-driven experience. Multiple maps to choose from, filtered with different biomes and unique quirks to each one, and so much more. The game was genuinely beautiful for its time, and still is today in my opinion. So much love went into the art of the game, and even the small details like the sound your character makes when you're hoisting resources back to your base. It comes off as your run-of-the-mill hack and slash at first glance, but once you dive deeper into Fat Princess, it reveals itself as a strategic war game with a unique style and surprisingly nuanced mechanics. Like the title of the video suggests though, I want to explore how such a game with clear love and attention to detail fell off without a trace. One reason that Fat Princess isn't around today is availability. Fat Princess was released in 2009 at a time where physical releases were the main selling versions of games in the industry. Unfortunately for Fat Princess, it only released digitally, leading to a lot of people never knowing it even existed. It was a problem back then and a problem now. If you don't have the game, there's no real way to actually play it right now. On top of this unfortunate reality, Sony has been phasing out all older games on the PS Store for a while now. And as of 2019, it's no longer available for download on the store page. So technically you could still play the game if you had 1, a PS3, 2, had the game downloaded, and 3, having PlayStation Plus to play online. However, because of the game's lacking player base, you and the one other guy still playing Fat Princess in 2026 would be paired up with 30 bots. Which kinda sucks because the best part of the game was the fact that it was a large-scale online game. Interacting with other players and getting into those silly interactions was what made the game so magical. Because trying to get a resurgence of players back into the game is nearly impossible currently, the only question left is what happened to the developers and will they ever make a sequel? Like I stated earlier, the founder of Fat Princess was Titan Studios, and Fat Princess was actually the only game the studio ever made. After the release and development of Fat Princess, most of Titan Studios split up to work on other projects. However, the founder of Fat Princess did go on to create another game in the Fat Princess universe called Fat Princess Adventures. Fortunately, this game did not follow the same format as its predecessor and was more of a co-op siege-based game similar to Castle Crashers but from a top-down perspective. It boasted similar themes and had a quite similar art style, and even did okay in reviews, but it just wasn't Fat Princess. As this game would fizzle off into time, that would be the end of Fat Princess, really. This leaves us at the mercy of Sony, unfortunately, to hopefully either one day allow the game to be streamable on their newer consoles, similar to how Xbox has been doing with their older Xbox 360 titles, or maybe one day make a reboot. But if I were you, I wouldn't hold your breath, knowing Sony. However, there is currently a game on Steam that is heavily inspired by Fat Princess called Fat Goblins. The game is being produced by a small indie studio called Coda Games, and even has a demo on Steam that you can try out now if you've never played Fat Princess before, or would like to relive some of that old childhood nostalgia. Now, to be fair, the game is in very early development and only single player at the moment, but after playing it for myself for a few hours, you can tell for certain that the developers at Coda Games are trying their butts off to recapture that same feeling that Fat Princess gave us all so long ago. So please give it a shot, have some grace in your early judgments, and give it a wishlist on Steam to give the developers a helping hand with production. That's it for this video. I'll be dropping another video on another nostalgic game that I've played in the past soon. If you recognize this silhouette, let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.